So you want to captain the Tirpitz. Well, do you like torpedoes on your battleships? Do you like secondary guns that will destroy everything? And do you like being called a noob? Well then, the Tirpitz, aka the Dirpitz, is for you. Now, if you're new to my channel, feel free to subscribe. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, and once we do, we'll have a 24-hour stream, and on that stream, we'll do all different types of games, and we'll also be doing some giveaways. So make sure that you're subscribed, and you'll be notified whenever I go live. So let's get into the Tirpitz. The history of the Tirpitz is... it's very good and also kind of bad, if that makes sense. It's not the super long, epic battle of the Bismarck, but it's still pretty good. She was basically completed in 1941, and basically she was ported or was stationed at Norway's ports just to be a deterrent against the Allied invasion. Was at Norway to basically prevent them and intercept any convoys that they may see. For the most part, she was very focused. After the Bismarck sunk, the British Royal Navy basically tried to focus everything that they could whenever they could find that Tirpitz. So she was moving around a lot. The only time that she actually truly fired her guns as a offensive role was in September 1943, whenever herself and the Scharnhorst were basically battering Spitzenberg. I'm sorry if I totally mispronounced that, but that's where they were, and they were shore bombarding. But basically, shortly after that, it was damaged by a British mini-sub, and because of that damage, she was in ports a lot, trying to get everything fixed. But then the Royal Air Force and Navy were just hunting for the Tirpitz like crazy. Multiple air raids were conducted on the Tirpitz. She was a very tanky girl, that's for sure. Basically, she would take a lot of explosions from those bombs. A lot of bombs missed, unfortunately. She also was, had a lot of mini-subs and submarine attacks going against her. A lot of those just failed just due to the fact that they had submarine nets out there, so it didn't work too much, but there was some damage here and there. Not to say that she was scratch free, but she did have some damage here and there, and so she was constantly being repaired. And also at the time, German Navy was not super happy about its surface fleet. They were super happy about their submarines, but not so much their surface fleet. So it was, the writing was on the wall for the Tirpitz. You can't put that much resources into the ship and then it just immediately gets damaged. So, it was bound to happen one of two things. Either she's going to get destroyed by an air raid or Germany just scuttles her. Unfortunately, it was the first one, where the British in 1944, with a British Lancaster equipped with tall boys, which are about 12,000 pounds of explosives. Basically, two of them were direct hits on the ship, and one was a near miss, which caused the ship to capsize a little bit. Fires were everywhere, and then eventually the magazines for one of the main turrets exploded. Pretty much that's what killed her in the end. She was, I wouldn't say she was perfect after taking on those tall boys, but if that ammunition explosion didn't happen, I think they would have at least used her as a shore bombardment type of deal, like what the Japanese were trying to do with Yamato, run her into the ground and just be like a shore bombardment type of place, or a fortress or something. So overall, that is the history of the Tirpitz. It's more detailed than that. There's a lot more strategies, a lot more plans than that, but that's just what I'm going to cover real fast. Now, in game, she is a interesting ship, so let's get it out of the way. The reason why she's called the Tirpitz is because she was one of the very first Tier 8 ships that you could buy. And also, she was one of the first Tier 8 ships that was a battleship. So that's pretty much the main reason why she got called the Tirpitz because a player could literally play like an hour or two, get bored of, the slow moving battleships and go, oh, I want to put down however much money for the Tirpitz. So in the beginning, she sucked. That's just because players just didn't know how to play. Battleships at higher tiers, there's a whole different strategy to do whenever you're up at higher tiers. So that's a reason why her win rate sucked in the beginning. But now, it's still a little bit better, I will say. It's not the best, but it's still a little bit better. So obviously, the best thing about her is she's in the German line, so your secondaries are going to be insanely good, especially if you put on any of the modifications for it and your captain perks for it. Those are going to be amazing for you, just your pure secondary build. Pretty much like every single German battleship at this point. Your main guns, they're good at traversal and reload time. They aren't the best guns though, because they're just 15-inch guns. So you're gonna be good against, you won't have any over penetrations against cruisers, which feels good. That always sucks. But you're gonna struggle against angled battleships pretty much. So you gotta spam the HE against those. So the other weak point for her is, her guns, her main battery guns are German. So they're not the best at accuracy. Pretty much just like the Bismarck. They suck at long range. Which also makes sense why her deck armor is pretty weak. Because plunging fire, it just sucks for her too. So just don't do long distance fights if you can. Try to get within like 11 kilometers, because that's usually whenever your secondaries go off, and that means your guns are going to be also a little bit more accurate. So overall, she's pretty much just like the Bismarck, except for a couple of things here and there. The big one is your AA guns are not as powerful or as strong as the Bismarck. Who cares? AA defense does not really exist, so that doesn't really matter. The big thing, the big thing though, is you have torpedoes and the Bismarck does not. But the Tirpitz, since it has torpedoes, it does not get a hydro, which is so good. The German hydro is so good compared to all the other nations. So you are very, very weakened in that torpedo alley range, because you won't be able to spot torps as fast as a Bismarck can. Now, talking about the torpedoes, don't use those as your main attacking. They only have a 6-kilometer range. Yeah, that's great, but you have to get pretty close. And to be honest with you, a lot of better ships can be up close and personal and still kill you. If it's late in the game, yes, do that. That's totally fine. But if it's early, don't get up close. You're going to die. And 9 times out of 10, most players will miss their torpedoes because people have gotten better at dodging torpedoes. It's not that hard anymore. So don't use your torpedoes unless it's last line of defense type of thing, because it's not going to work for you whatsoever at all. So we've kind of talked about the, pros and cons. No hydro, got torpedoes. That's basically the difference between her and the Bismarck. Now, here are the captain perks. As you can kind of tell, it's going to be just like every other German battleship. You're going to go that secondary build. That's the bread and butter of everything for her. It's a lot of fun to say. And you also can, just have more damage because you're just sailing around and you're getting free damage, so that always helps out immensely. So now here comes the next part that I'm trying to do in these series is, should you buy this ship? So one, if you're going down the German line, yes, I would say it's recommendable. The Scharnhorst can do the exact same thing pretty much, only a tier lower. So if you want to play in tier 10 battles, then yes, the Tirpitz is going to be good for you. If you don't want to play in tier 10 battles, then you might want to look at the Scharnhorst. But she's still good at, she's still going to be good at getting your captains, your German battleship captains up there. So if you're needing help in that area, perfect opportunity for you to get your German captains to basically have a full spec. Credit wise, she's pretty good at credits. Once again, this is the tier 8. That is pretty much the best tier of earning credits, just because your expenses are not that bad and you can get monster games monster games and credits. She's still not going to be the best at the credit making. I know that there's other nations that do a little bit better. Mostly, I'm looking at USA, with your Missouri. That's pretty much the reason why. But overall, if you're just purely trying to get down the German line, yeah, it's going to be fine. It's going to be a good credit maker. I would not buy her if you're a brand new player. It does take a little bit of learning her, and especially if you're brand new and you have not, played higher tier battleships. That's the reason why she's called the Tirpitz, is because everybody sees I have torpedoes, I should go in and use my torpedoes. No, no, use your main guns. I know they kind of suck at long range, but you got to get a little bit closer, about 11 kilometers, and use your secondaries. Then you can use your torpedoes. So that's why I say don't do it if you're a new player. And if you're a history buff, of course you've already probably bought this ship by now, because once again, it's, actually real and it exists. So with that being said, hopefully you guys like this video. Please let me know down in the comment section on what ship you want to see next. Also, make sure to check out the playlist at the end of the So You Want a Captain series so that you know which ships I've already covered. And with that being said, I'm so excited that we're close to 1,000. I can't wait to do this 24-hour stream. We'll also be doing giveaways on there, so that's going to be fun. And hopefully I stay up the whole entire time. Who knows? We'll find out. With that being said, thanks for watching and have a wonderful day. Thanks. Bye-bye.